Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Yes, today it's 7 minutes to 4. I'm sitting at 7.3 millimoles per liter. I have been pretty well, except for just before lunch went up and have come down. When I went up, the pump was doing what it was supposed to be doing, gave me little shots of insulin throughout the day. Time and range, I don't know. Seems to be quite similar to yesterday. Don't know why this would happen, but we're sitting at 91%. 9% above, 91% in range, and 7.3. I did 2 of these videos together to kind of catch up as I took a day off, and I wasn't feeling well, so I didn't have time to do a video. So I'm now catching up, so that's why I'm filming 2. Counted 2. All right. So today we're going to discuss how I survived part 2. Oh, God. Sometimes I wonder. Now I'm going to do things that saved my backside for all those years. So stay tuned. We'll be right back to get going. Okay, I described in the last installment, in part 1, I described how I got into trouble, and I didn't discuss how I really got out of these situations. So, for years, I would control my diabetes by eating whatever I wanted, taking blood sugars, and just giving insulin. That was my saving rate. Oh, I want to eat a little bit more. I just give myself it. And it wasn't a calculated amount. So nowadays we would count carbs, and then we would give, through a correction factor, give insulin to cover those. Didn't really work that way before. No. back in my day, I came to really rely on two emergency rooms. There were others thrown in. One was Burnaby Hospital, and the other was Royal Columbian. Both those hospital emergency rooms, I became what I like to call a frequent flyer. And those frequent flyers, I wore kind of as a badge of honor. What an idiot I was. I really shouldn't have been doing it, but I was relying on them. I could do whatever I wanted. If I messed up, they were always going to be there to protect me. I really never, as I said, did calculated amounts to figure out my insulin until that one fatal day I woke up and decided I was going to take care of my insulin, my diabetes, for me and no one else. So I guess I kind of gave myself the right to be healthy. I have the right to be healthy. I've lived up to a lot of my complications now, but I still have the right to be healthy. You gotta remember this. But the emergency room visits, the ambulance crews, so many were called. Now, I've said in a vlog not too long ago that when my parents, when my mother and stepfather moved to Fiji and I moved in with my sister, I was in my teenage years. I would have chocolate bars from the school vending machines. I was drinking regular pop. Oh, God. Just thinking back, the amount of extra insulin I took. And I can remember, fast forward, back when I was about 23, 24, going to my first diabetic daycare, and going and saying, oh, well, yes, I just take the amount of insulin I'm prescribed. That was a full-faced lie. My amounts of insulin would go high. Sometimes I would be severe low. Other times I'd be super high. And my parents always said, oh, you're cheating. And I never really liked that term, cheating. Playing around, I think, is probably a better. If you have a youngster, a teenager, who's starting to come upon their own, they want the responsibility, you kind of have to give supervised freedom. I was sort of just said, okay, my parents are going out to Fiji. My sister did a great job, and she made sure I had supplies. Otherwise, things were all left to me. And when I didn't want to do something, oh, it was convenient just to take a little extra insulin and have a low blood sugar. it's all fun and games until it stops being fun and games. I figured that what was happening to me day in and day out would all be straightened out when I started to take my insulin when I needed to, when I started to eat right, when I got exercise, things would all just sort of sort out. But it didn't quite work that way. I became sort of very brittle in my diabetes, which is not a good thing, trust me. Or labile, sorry, I keep reverting to the old term, which was brittle diabetes. Diabetes that wasn't controllable. When I started to control my blood sugar, doing 4 times a day, eating right, it was difficult. I figured, my blood sugar would just be perfect. I was always told when people thought I was screwing around with my blood sugar, oh, everything would be just perfect if you just followed the plan. You wouldn't have a problem in the world. Your diabetes would just come right into place. Didn't work out that way. I never had the perfect blood sugars. When I was first diagnosed, they had trouble with it. When I would go in, they would, a lot of times would just roll their eyes. I would have problems with seeing a diabetic educator because my body doesn't like to follow its plans. Now I go and see or speak with a diabetic nurse. I have an endocrinologist which I can contact. I have a dietitian here at the home. The brittleness and everything has led me into the care facility. Now, I've had half my life as following the guidelines and the rules. Half of it I didn't. I think the first year after being diagnosed, I pretty well did what I had to, follow the rules, and things were okay. And then I was left on my own, and I was not ready to be left on my own. To where we are today. I wish I'd woken up sooner. If I had woken up to caring for my diabetes sooner, I might not have ended up in this facility. I ended up in this facility because my diabetes now is so unstable. I can take insulin and, well, it looks like this today. Tomorrow it can look completely different. And I'm not playing around with it anymore. I have stopped that, 25 years ago? Yeah, that would probably work. 23, no, 20, no, more than that, 40 years ago. No, 20, we'll say 25 years ago. Probably the easiest thing to do. But I never really allowed myself to take care of my diabetes A, for me, which I talked to you about. B, allowed myself to be healthy. And today, I'm not always healthy. I'm living with the complications of never having a suitable blood sugar. I, the doctor here now said, I've never seen anyone with this uncontrolled diabetes. And that was one of the reasons why I said when I moved in here was that with my doctor and my diabetic educator that I would run my own diabetes. And it has worked pretty good. But even though with me trying to follow day to day, I've had a few severe lows, and I'm talking blood sugars down to 1 point something, which is not good. I've had DKA, in which I ended up in an ICU. So, what am I doing in here if things are still happening? I'm here sort of as a buffer zone. I have other medical conditions which need to be taken care of. But for my diabetes, I'm doing a hell of a lot better now. And it's so much easier because if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you own the results. If I go high one day because I had a little treat, let me tell you, the Werther candies are my downfall. And if I've had a couple and my blood sugar spikes, I own that. Oh no, I would never have those. You're hiding from yourself. You've got to wake up. You've got to be current with your disease and knowing and how to deal with it and how to take responsibility. That's the important thing. I survived by the skin of my teeth. I was damn well lucky to be the diabetic I am today. If I, 25 years ago, if I didn't make the move, I would be in so much more trouble. And with that, I hope you have a great day. And in a moment, I'll be right back to discuss our next topic. Hey, it's Mike again. Our next topic will be obesity and type 1 diabetes. Interesting. We don't necessarily associate obesity with type 1 diabetes. Could be interesting. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow, same bat channel. Have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye now. My email address is Mike's Diabetes World at gmail.com. All one line. Drop me